I'm one of the producers and directors of. Are you talking about Dark Side of the Ring?
Yeah.
Dark Side of the
How
Ring.
high aren't you at EP?
I'm not the EP of the show, but I am the guy who basically does all the interviews on the show. I'm like the documentary director.
Story producer?
Documentary director.
Is that what it's called?
Yes.
How many seasons are you in?
This is my fourth one that I've done. The show's done 6 seasons. I've done 40, almost, I think 40 episodes of it. 40.
This is like your dream job.
Yes.
Because you love wrestling.
I do.
Now, the stories that you see are crazy.
The craziest.
Give me one good crazy story. Because you love wrestling. You taught me more about wrestling than I think almost anybody.
It's really interesting because wrestling, I don't know what, like when I found out that it was just a show, it made me like it more as opposed to less. Do you know when you're like a kid and you find out, oh, people are like, oh, it's not real. And some people are like, oh, well then fuck this. And to me, it was like, what do you mean? That's amazing.
Because
like,
they were able to pull it off.
It was just like a show. It was a spectacle to me. And I was a child actor. I was like, I would watch horror movies and not get scared because I knew that it was a movie.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I guess it was just exciting to me to know that like this athletic thing was also a show. I don't know. I just loved it.
Makes sense.
And I did love it, and I still love it. And so the fact that I'm now working on a TV show where I get to go travel around the country and interview all of these wrestlers that I grew up watching from the 80s and 90s, sometimes the 70s even, and the 2000s even. And it's just like, it's amazing. They have incredible stories. It's like such a crazy business. The people who are in it are not, I mean, at least of that era, the era that you know. Like, name 5 wrestlers.
I can tell you right now, Andre, Junkyard,
Doc, Hulk,
Jimmy,
which
Macho, Snuka,
yeah, Macho. Okay, those 5 you just named.
Sergeant Slaughter, Hacksaw Jim, and I'm not even a mark.
No, you're saying good stuff.
But I grew up on Saturday morning.
So of those first 5 that you
and it's never WWE, it's always WWF for me.
Fair enough. The 5 wrestlers that you named, 4 of those guys are no longer with us.
God rest their souls.
All of those guys have crazy stories because they came up in that era of the Macho Man Randy Savage. You listed.
He's gone?
Yep, we have
God
an episode about
his soul.
him. Andre the Giant, obviously, he passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Who else did you name?
How did Jimmy die? I know. How did Macho Man die?
Jimmy Snuka is an episode of our show as well.
I should just watch
Jimmy Snuka actually died as he was facing trial for murdering his then girlfriend. It's crazy. These guys have stories, man. So Jimmy Snuka, her name was Nancy. He was driving with her to a show in, I believe it's in Pennsylvania. And he goes to the show. He comes back. She's dead. And he says, oh, well, when we were driving to the show, she fell and she hit her head. And, she must have been, we went to bed and she didn't wake up. That was his story for many years. And it was, Jimmy Superfly Snuka, he
hero to millions.
Yeah. And then the internet sort of got to work and some reporter got to work and sort of like re-looked at the story. Jimmy Snuka apparently, he wrote a book 20 years later. And I might be getting some of these details wrong because it's been so long. But he wrote a book, and in his book, apparently, what he wrote in the book was different than what he told the police kind of thing. And so they reopen the investigation. He gets recharged, and they go to trial. And they deem that he's just too old, and he ends up passing away.
How did he die?
Old age, or not old age, but complications of being an old wrestler.
And how did did they say that he did it, or
if you watch the episode of Dark Side of the Ring, you'll see.
Don't tell me.
Yeah, it's a crazy episode. So every episode has this crazy element of ESPN 30 for 30 meets a true crime Netflix show, meets just wild stories. And remember, these guys in the 80s and 90s are rock stars. Hulk Hogan wrestling, even in the 70s with Superstar Billy Graham and all these guys. These guys are rock stars. They are selling out Madison Square Garden every month. They're in some territories, they're selling out the arena every week. wrestling 7-8 times a week, traveling around. I mean, girls, men, whatever it was, drugs.
King Kong Bundy,
Dead.
God rest his soul.
Yeah, classic.
Dude, I bring this up because I never seen one app.
You should.
People say
it's a good show.
People say it's award worthy. It's like Oscar worthy. It should be nominated.
I wouldn't say. Well, you know what?
No, apparently it's amazing.
It is really good.
And I don't want people to think you're just my buddy and we're goofing around because you have a lot of good credits.
This is a good. The way that show came to be,
it's incredible.
It's incredible
that you're working on it is the perfect thing because
you. And shout out to Evan and Jason. They're the ones that created the show.
You love wrestling. Like,
I do.
You are a mark. You're a self-admitted mark. That's what Leatherface is.
Is he a mark?
But he's a self-admitted mark, meaning he knows it's a work, but he still
likes wrestling.
He used to be. He was in the Huntington Beach League, and I forget the name of it. A something. I don't want to say A&A, but John Cena came out of his league.
UPW?
Maybe. A lot of these guys came out of this certain farm
Leatherface
league.
was a wrestler?
Yeah, he's in a league you know. Cena came out from the Huntington Beach League. How do I know this?
Because he just had leather on.
Yeah, but I know a lot of these people because if you're a movie monster, that's a variant. If you're a movie monster, you can only wrestle 3-4 years and your fucking knees go. So what do you rather do? Chase fucking 23-year-olds around in a horror movie.
Is that what he's doing?
Yeah.
Oh, he was a wrestler before he was Leatherface.
Yeah.
This is good promo for the Leatherface episode.
Yeah. So
anyway, Dark Side of the Ring, a new season is starting. I may as well plug that.
Are you working on it this year?
We just finished the season, so it's going to start airing in March of this year.
Where does it air? Vice?
It airs on Vice. It's on Hulu.
But is it air?
It's on Crave in Canada.
Like, does it have like a?
Yeah, it's on
PM
Thursday
on
night.
Tuesday?
Yeah. Like
but,
Thursdays
but you
at
can
10.
watch it, whatever.
You know, that kind of thing.
Where can I watch all the episodes?
On Hulu.
Just now and just download them?
Yeah.
Okay, now. How many a season did they do? 10?
6 seasons.
10 a season?
10 a season. And I came in season 3.
How'd you get involved?
I got involved during the COVID era. They fell so far behind on their production that Evan, who was the creator of the show, co-creator, him and Jason Eisner.
How did you get involved with
Jason's
them?
who you should meet. He's a great film director. He's got some really cool, quirky stuff for you.
Okay.
For real.
Great.
But anyway.
I like that. About you right now.
So these guys were on the road doing it themselves. And Evan was doing the interviews, or Jason was directing it, whatever they,
like Heckler.
Sure. And they end up, because of the world was shut down, they couldn't fly at first, so they rented a van or a bus, and they started driving around doing it that way. And by the time, what should have taken 3 weeks was taking 11 weeks, and what was 11 weeks was taking 20 weeks. They started getting so far behind in the post-production that they needed somebody to take over and go on the road. And so...
Did you know them before?
I met them a few times before. I was considering being a showrunner on the show in season 2, but then I did Faking a Murder and Jack of All Trades and all this other stuff. But I really wanted to get involved with that show forever because it's my favorite show kind of thing. And so I spoke to Evan, and he was like, "Hey man, would you want to go on the road and maybe?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course I do." And so I took the job, and since then, it's amazing. Literally, it's amazing.
You showed me your official Vice badge.
I have an official Vice badge.
That's cool.
So I could go to press conferences. I could attend, things that you need me to get into and ask questions to people.
You got to do that.
I could.
Why don't you go to the White House?
I wish.
Why don't you go to the inauguration?
I should. I could.
I would like to go.
You want to
Could we go?
We could.
Can I go as your +1?
I don't think I'm on the list. But
no, you have a Vice badge.
I do have a Vice badge.
You're a press.
I am.
Dude, let's go.
You want to go?
I'm dead serious. I don't want to fly, though.
We'll take the Sprinter.
We have to leave tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, we can walk.
Stop.
Yeah. Anyway, it comes with the perk of having that press pass.
Push down so people can see those lips. Listen to me.
You're fucking crazy.
Give me one wrestler.
Yes.
Because, God, man, it's crazy. I'm not like you, but I could cry how much I really do love wrestlers as I learn because you taught me about them. And it stems from Sid Croft. Shout out Sid, who's still alive, who's on this pod.
Sid was on the pod?
Yeah, 94 years old.
When was he on?
He was on about 7 months ago, but he's the creator of my childhood, also
Sure.
your childhood.
Yeah.
And the
That's a
creator
big get.
the creator of Saturday Morning, really, cartoons. And he basically started as a carny. I could cry because he's basically P.T. Barnum, I believe he worked with him. And then like he was the guy with no face, which is crazy. It was a real thing, like took care of him. And it's a beautiful story. And then he ended up opening for Judy Garland, and I think he took care of her. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he's had a great life. And but he's amazing stories, and he basically all of Hollywood starts as carnies. And it's like you and I talk about this all the time. It's like my hidden camera show was great because they were carnies. How many people can hide in a bush and love it? And you know what I mean? Wrestling, it's huge. It's carnies. You know what I'm saying? The con circuit, carnies. You know, and even rap. You're going from place to place. It's carnies. You know what I'm saying? Like putting music on in these crazy venues. All of it. You agree with that?
Sure. I mean, there's definitely the comparison to be made. There's like a traveling circus element to all of what you're saying.
It really is.
Yeah.
Like, and Cirque du Soleil is high end, but it's carnies.
Yeah.
And I have a real soft spot for carnies. Now, there's a dark stuff with carnies.
Sure.
But wrestling, to me, if you don't really understand it, first of all, they're the greatest entertainers.
Well, it's like the other thing.
And they're people that are so disrespectful to them. I love it when that one guy like smacked another guy and says, "Is that fake? You think that's fake?"
And fake violence in the wrestling ring led to this real-life brutality.
I think this is fake.
You think it's fake? What's that? Is that fake? Huh? What the hell's wrong with you? That's open hand slap, huh? You think it's fake? You come. Easy. Huh? What do you mean? Fake.
Yeah, we did an episode on that. That's Dr. D. David Schultz.
I love that. And then Kathy Lee Gifford.
Yeah, with Ravishing Rick Rude, you saw that. That was on socials recently.
Who I liked. And then I think she was on Howard Stern. It's like, I don't know why I did his show, which I thought, that's fucked up to turn your back on me. But so I was glad that Ravishing Rick Rude gave it to her. Because she flipped the shit. And I'm Ravishing Rude. That was the best fucking moment in that fucking show.
This one is for the Giffer. Now you all see. This is unleashing. Now let's get a shot of old Redhead Regis.
And like he pulled his pants down and Regis was on his ass and Regis kicked his ass. Regis is lucky he didn't do nothing to him.
You know what? Because we haven't done an episode on Ravishing Rick Rude yet, but like Regis is lucky because Rick Rude is someone that would have kicked his ass if he didn't like
with one finger.
Yeah.
Twisted him up.
Yeah.
He would have twisted him.
There's stories about that guy, Ravishing Rick Rude.